chat with you guys. I'm such a fan of the Ho family.
Oh, thanks.
Well, first off, I know I only have 15 minutes with you guys, so I want to start off by saying congratulations, Judy. So happy for you and everything. You're expanding family with Nate and everything. So really happy. And
Thank you.
but with everything that has happened, what made you decide to continue this journey of showcasing you and your family and your story on television?
I think just season one was so groundbreaking, and the feedback that we got, we just were able to connect with so many Asians, especially all over the world. And I just felt like season one was just an introduction to us as people. And season two, you get to dive deeper into who we are as people. And we have new cousins that are showing, and you can just see a different generation of hosts and what they go through.
Hmm. Well, I know that usually, like when something personal tragedy has happened and it's heartbreaking, it's so hard to relive that. How was it for you, kind of reliving that again with alongside with Nate as well?
Well, for Nate, for season two, he doesn't appear very much. That was his choice. For me, I'm still showcasing what I'm going through, either as his partner or also as a mother to my own children, and how I relate to my family. It has repercussions all over. And, um, I mean, what Nate is going through is tragic, as you can see on the show. But, we do the best that we can as a family to support him.
No, of course. And Washington, congrats on your sobriety. I know television tends to stretch out personalities on television, but I really think that you are who you are. And I'm really excited to talk to you about this. But how has your sobriety affected the season in terms of your relationships and your career?
Well, sobriety, to me, it's an everyday battle. I, as an Asian person and male, I never really had anyone to run to within my inner circle of family or friends about how to deal with this. And what I've learned is that, through sobriety, we can see ourselves more clearly, we can self-reflect more. And it's difficult to look in the mirror to see, what has happened over the years and the damage I've done. But what I've learned is you can't move forward if you're driving looking in the rearview mirror. And my relationship with my family and my wife has gotten better as long as I maintain my promise. And that promise is not just to them, but to myself and to my kids. And it's really important for me to own my truth. And my truth is that, it's not everyone else's problem, it's just my own. And for my career, I've recently gotten my real estate license, and I've, formed a team to take advantage of different opportunities in the market. But also, I feel like it's my duty to teach everybody how my father got to where he is. And I'm really inspired by my father, and my sobriety has really helped me earn respect from others.
No, I'm really happy for that. And with Leslie, I'm basically you. I'm married to the golden child of a Vietnamese household. And I'm close to my sister-in-law too, who I relate with regarding like the golden child syndrome. But I feel like I watch myself sometimes. It's insane. Like I know you and Washington have a loving relationship. I have a loving relationship. But I know, but in terms of just dealing with family will always be there. And the concept of the golden child will always be there. And I know Washington, understand this too, but the parents are so close by and so close that they always get involved, and family will never go away. So how has it been for you dealing with that, and dealing with like kind of more of the closest and more family becoming involved as well, because I know families coming from all over the place too.
Yeah. First of all, you're a rock star. It's difficult, and it's still finding that balance of, whenever we need, to call on his parents, when we solicit their advice or need their help. You'll see in the show, his dad is very much hands-on with us, but there's certain aspects like raising my son where I don't want them to be hands-on, or, just enabling Washington. I want Washington to kind of just own what has happened, and feel, the effects of it. Sometimes you need that. And his parents have always shielded him from all of those type of emotions. And it's that balance of, when to keep them just arm's length and when to welcome them and welcome their advice.
Mm. Well, I'm as part of an Asian household and I know how close everyone is. You guys ever watch the episodes and realize, like, does it bring you closer together as a family with Judy, relationship with Leslie, or, relationship with Nate's family? Did you guys feel closer together because of the series? Or do you feel like it's kind of also adds some more drama to the family?
I think it makes us closer because, actually there is drama, but we actually speak about it. I think it's easy to kind of brush it under the rug or just ignore it. But by doing the show, we're forced to confront these issues and talk them out. And, it plays out on camera as drama. But I think at the end of the day, we know that, we're coming from a place of love, and we're, like you said, we're a family. We're going to be there forever. You can't get rid of us.
Well, with in addition to Nate's family, and they're completely different from the whole family. The Wynn
Yes.
family are completely different. The siblings are with each other. How are the families when they're all together? And how do you feel like the Wynn family will bring? What will the Wynn family bring to the series?
The Wynn family is very different. I think the thing about the Ho family is that you have Ben Ho as the mastermind, right? Nate's family, everyone's very independent, does their own thing. And, they don't have somebody who they all have to like answer to, and everybody's more outspoken and feels free to be who they are. And they just bring another aspect of, another Asian family, and how their family is not as traditional as ours, but yet somehow at the end of the day, they come from the same place of love, and they have embraced me as a sister-in-law, and I'm very grateful for that.
Well, last season it was mainly talked about divorce or separation between like Washington and Leslie. There's potential of that, and last year, like Judy's conversation of divorce with your family. This season we see like a kind of recovery with forgiveness between like the families. What kind of themes would you say that we will see this season in terms of like what Asian families deal with? Coming out, I know there's coming out, and there's also is career based as well.
I think
Washington and Leslie.
Um, you know, the themes for me were alcoholism and career. And, you would expect somebody that was born with as many resources as me to kind of have a stable career right now, where I'm just starting a new venture in real estate. And I think for Asian people, the theme is that if you're not happy, it's never too late to change. And you don't have to fit within any circle to be happy. It's more important to be happy with yourself and to set those boundaries.
Mhm.
I think a lot of the theme is acceptance, accepting who you are as a person, having the family accept you, and your individuality. Me and Washington accepting each other for what he's going through in life and what I'm going through in life right now. I think that's a common theme for the entire season too.
Yeah. And Judy?
I think a common theme for me and Nate is that, our family really embraces us, even though they were very, not understanding about my divorce. They've just embraced change, and they understand that the times are different now, and, marriages are not always going to be happily ever after. And even though, they wanted me to just stick it out in my marriage, even though I was unhappy, now that they've seen what it should be like, Nate's considered a part of the family now.
Mhm. Well, I know you guys are kind of used to this is your second season. You're used to being filmed, but there's a lot of times that I feel like it becomes overwhelming. Do you guys ever feel take time to kind of like feel like you need to stop the cameras because it just becomes too much for you guys?
I think the hardest part for me is not during the actual filming, but it's during the interviews when they sit down and they ask you the questions, and they ask a question, you don't answer, exactly the way it is, and they just keep asking you 10 different ways. I think that's just the hardest part. And then, sometimes they ask us questions about other people's relationships or what's going on with someone else, and you feel uncomfortable in putting your opinions on there when it's really none of your business. But I guess that's what we signed up for to be on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Leslie, what-
it can get overwhelming having to relive the episodes and doing the interviews over and over until they get the bite they want. But, we signed up for this and we did this, we understand that this is about entertainment and it's got to have some value to it, but it's also got to be real. And, it's very overwhelming. But, we've done 2 seasons. I think we've learned how to manage it better and we're more comfortable now.
I definitely had those moments, specifically St. Thomas, in my drama with Sammy. There were multiple times where I've had to walk away from a scene because the cameras were just too much. And I just had to remove myself from, I felt like a toxic situation that could have escalated. Or, I've had to call the producers and cut. I cannot, I can't deal with this right now. And I can't go on because they'll just keep the cameras rolling, and you just, I just kind of shut down at that point, when it's uncomfortable. So I've had multiple moments like that this season.
Oh, well, I really love watching you guys because I feel like there's no pressure to have to represent the Asian person. You don't have to represent the Asians because all of you guys are Asians. All of you guys have different personalities. We get to feel represented in different people. With reflection of like when the series happened, how was it for you guys kind of dealing with the attention that you guys were getting, especially for the Asian community?
I mean, there's good sides and bad sides to it. I mean, of course, after season 1, I mean, there were plenty of people that weren't happy with Washington Ho, but there was a few people that were inspired by my journey. And, I think by season 2, what people will notice about me is that I've learned that vulnerability is courage and strength. And in my culture, in my Asian culture, it's not taught that way. And we can only be happy if we work together, confront our issues. And if it doesn't work, it's okay, as Judy has shown everybody.
I think, like Washington said, there's pros and cons. You have a platform now and you can use your voice to amplify, social causes or anything like that can help, Asian representation. Also, there's negatives. Washington said, like, there's people with opinions that probably shouldn't be shared, or I just don't want to hear it. And, that's what block and delete is for on Instagram. So it's pros and cons, but I think overall it's been a positive experience for me. And hopefully, season 2 will have more people that enjoy the show.
And the final question, because I only got to see 4 episodes, they haven't sent us all the screeners yet. What can we expect for the rest of the season for the season? And what do you hope to kind of, if there's a 3rd season, what do you hope to expand on that story as well?
I think season 2 is groundbreaking. In season 1, we see for the first time an Asian female announce a divorce to her family and to get a real reaction. In season 2, you're going to see other storylines through the new characters. I hope in season 3, we're able to delve deeper into those characters and learn more about, Bella and Kim, my cousins, coming on. And, I'm so excited.
I think you'll see a lot of, love, laugh, and luxury, and obviously multi-generational drama. There's plenty of that season 2. And for season 3, I think, there's so much more to our family that 30 minutes for this many people doesn't really show. You barely scratch the surface of it. So I think for season 3, you see more multi-dimensionals in our characters and what makes us tick. And, you see a little bit deeper dive. Hopefully.
I mean, I think season 2, a lot of my story is just expanding my family and me and Nate's relationship and how it's evolved from, just the beginning honeymoon stage, and now we're more settled. And, for season 3, I just hope that somebody else in the family also expands their family. I don't know who.
Well, and then I want to touch upon one question because I remember I'm talking with Bella and Kim, and they said that they're added in because it adds some like another the multi-generational gap because they're in between. You guys are in the between your parents, and then they're like the younger generation.
Right.
Are we gonna see? Because I know that we're still different from the two generations. Are we gonna see kind of conflict between the younger generation as well, and then your kids' generation? Are we gonna start seeing dynamics from them as well?
Well, hopefully that's season 4, 5, and 6. They're a little bit young.
Well, I mean,
You know,
Bella and Kim as well.
yeah, there's not much conflict with Bella and Kim this season. I think if anything, me and Leslie are like the older sisters, and they confide in us and we kind of just help them along with their journey because we've been where they've been, at that age and kind of just getting out in the world, especially when it comes to dating and dealing with parents. And hopefully season 3, we can dive deeper into that.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm such a big fan of you guys. Leslie and I feel like we're kindred spirits because my husband's also a pharmacist, so I'm like, oh my god,
even
yeah.
better.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my god, my husband and yeah. So I feel like, yeah, I felt this. Yeah, but congratulations on season 2. I can't wait for everyone to see it. Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you so much.
Well, with both of you coming on the show, with your perspectives, what do you hope to bring to the series? And I'll have Kim go or Bella go.
So we hope to bring on a new, fresh perspective. Of course, our cousins, Leslie, Wash, and Judy have shown, their struggles as Asian Americans, but because there's like a little bit of an age gap, they're facing problems that are a little bit different than we are. They're going through marriage and divorce and, raising children while we're going through struggles such as, being able to honor our parents for their sacrifices, as well as letting our our own individuality and our own colors show while maintaining that respect. And also just navigating, things like imposter syndrome and having the opportunity to have our own interests and stuff and not have that survival mentality that our parents had.
Yeah, I think it's really important for us to, share our stories and how we became the people that we are today, but also remind our family and our cousins and viewers that you also owe, no matter the responsibility that you owe to your family, you also owe responsibility to yourself and, in the life that you want to live and who you want to be as a person. And it's okay to feel those things and go through those things, but also still be like dutiful to your family.
Well, I know, Bella, you were away from your Texas family for some time and established a life in Los Angeles. And, I know Kim's father was not shown, but your dad, Bella, is very different from Washington and Judy's dad. And, now that you're back and older, like, do you feel that for both of you, because I think both your fathers or parents would be very different from Judy and Washington's dad. But do you feel like your dynamic has changed with the family since coming back? Especially finding relatability with your cousins?
I think finding relatability with my cousins is not difficult at all because a lot of them are very, very open-minded and they're going through very similar things that their parents have placed on them. But my struggles actually, everyone's struggles is different and their way that they were grown and raised is different. But my dad came here when he was like 7 or 8 years old and he went to high school here, he went to college here, and he's like a lot of our family members say, like they're American, but they're Asian and they are both. But he is really like blurring the lines. Like you can see by his outfits, you can see by the way he talks and like who he is as a person. My dad has never been perfect and he's gone like through just any struggles that every individual person feels, not even just about being a father, but who you are and like navigating where you want to be in life and what is your purpose in life. Like he didn't find that until later, but he makes it a point to talk to me a lot about it and like make sure that he is there by my side and allowing me to do those things and being comfortable with who I am and just not, caring all the time about what everyone else thinks and just allowing myself to be who I want to be, but also like reminding me who I am and where I came from.
Yeah.
So my father, he's a little bit older than Uncle Andy, so he's a little bit more conservative and traditional in his viewpoints. But as I've gotten older, he's come to like accept me and as a person, and me putting my mental health first and my career goals first. Something that, you know, that saying where like an old dog can't learn new tricks. I don't believe that at all, because even though he holds certain values and views, he doesn't impose them on me, and he respects me for who I am as a person and my goals. And the fact that I'm able to have this open dialogue with someone who's used to be so strict, and he had to do with A, B, C, D, E, had a whole plan out for me, is something that I've come to appreciate, because not a lot of people are willing to admit that they're wrong, or that their viewpoint might not necessarily be the correct viewpoint. So him just being able to do that shows that he understands that I am both Asian and I'm also American at the same time.
Well, that's what I love about the series. It gives like the series gives audiences another perspective of the American way of life, especially the insight of Vietnamese American culture. And participating in the series and watching it, do you guys get a different or better sense of your identity?
I think so for sure, because I can definitely say that when I was in California and, I'm an only child, that I started to lose my language and my traditions and who, my grandma would be feeding me fruits all the time. And like, that's just like something that, people laugh about on the internet. Like it's like a meme that, my mom is bringing me fruits and stuff. But when I come here, I feel like I'm around all my aunts and uncles and my gigantic family, that I'm able to really reconnect with it and just not kind of lose it, and like make, learn. I still learn new things that I didn't even know that were, important in my culture. But now I still get to see those things and I get to learn, and I just keep, finding new things that I enjoy and that I would really want to pass down to my children later on in life, or just like even my friends who are willing to learn and want to share and want to know about our culture.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit like opposite of Bella. So I grew up for the most part here in Houston before going to California for college. So I learned to read, speak, and learn all the Vietnamese customs. So I'm very like aware in my culture. But because of that, I feel like I lost a sense of self, and I didn't really have my own opinions. So I was given the opportunity to go to college at, Berkeley in California, where they're a little bit more individualistic there, and there's more freedom of speech. So there I learned to be a little bit more selfish and to have my own opinions, and whether or not, even if they might not be right or they might be wrong, I can think for myself and put my foot down and be like, hey, like, this is me, and you just have to take it for what it is, rather than just like, listening to everything our parents say.
Well, yeah, but what's funny is that I'm part of a Vietnamese family too. So the series has a lot of drama, and being part of the Asian and Vietnamese family, everyone gets involved. Everyone, even like your cousin's cousin gets involved. Do you guys ever feel like you have to pick sides, or do you ever try to stay out of it when it's really difficult?
I think for the most part, we're pretty neutral. I think because we are younger, we're able to understand like the views from both sides. So rather than pick sides, we see the positives and the negatives of each person's viewpoint. So we're able to, instead of having polar opposites, help, our family members try to understand the other person's perspective. So for example, in this season, two of our cousins, Leslie and Sammy, they are going through a bit of an argument, and each side is not willing to back down. They each have their own opinions and they both think each other is right. But Bella and I are there to bring balance into that and to help the other party understand why they're doing or they're saying the things that they are.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, when our family, like everyone is so strongly opinionated, and they just have their own way of doing things, and like, where did they get that from? They got that from their parents, and it's really hard, I think, as a human being who's feeling so many emotions, to talk to someone and like coherently understand where they're coming from and be like productive and proactive in what you want to get out of it. And like Kim said, like you'll see it in season 2 when we're there trying to console all of our cousins and their traumas and like what they're feeling. It's nice to be here and be there for them.
Well, family drama and even personal drama can become overwhelming, and especially since you guys are being filmed constantly. And I know, Bella, you have a major arc with your mother, estranged mother, this season. Was there ever a moment for either of you? And I know you both talked about relationships on the series too. Was there ever a moment where you just wanted to turn off the cameras because you felt overwhelmed with the fact that it's being presented to everyone?
That was like every single moment. Like literally my mom, I've in my experience, which is not that much, but I've had a little bit of experience due to my mom and like her bringing me around when I was younger to like everything that she's had to do and all the interviews she's been through. But being there and doing it for yourself is a completely different feeling. And I give so much props to all these reality TV stars that have been doing it for years and years and have been going through this very thing that I'm feeling. And it's a lot harder than it looks. Like you're putting your life out there for like so many people to watch and so many opinions to be formed about you. And the truth is like everything that's on the show, it is real because you hear us say it out of our mouths, but no one can really understand what you're feeling, and like all the other things have been going on that led you to this specific moment and that the specific feeling and emotion. And I guess the biggest thing is like everyone's human, and no matter what you see on TV and whatnot, like we are human and we feel so much just like every other person feels. But the difference is we're just sharing it with everyone, and we're letting people into our lives and having an opinion, which is an extremely extremely hard task to do.
For
But
me personally, I'm like very introverted and shy. I'm very private about my life, but I wanted to go on the show because it was an opportunity to share my story and to even one person, to hear my voice and feel like they're not alone, that the struggles that they're going through, there's someone else going through there. And I think representation is very important, whether it is, in the toy industry or on pop culture or in media. Because then when you're young, you don't really have a person to compare to except for what you see on the screen every day. So even though I'm very shy and putting my life out on the internet was something I never expected to do, being able to share our family story and to let other young Asian Americans who might possibly be going through something similar know that they're not alone, and hopefully know that there's actually, dozens and hundreds and thousands of other young Asian Americans going through the same thing. I think that is enough, to give me strength and motivation to put my life on there, even though there are times where I just want to just go and hide and just be in my room and not talk to anyone.
Well, speaking on that, on the representation, it was really refreshing to see that we have younger folk like you guys in your 20s, like come into this world of Texas, especially coming from California, where it's very liberal and very freeing of who you are and self-expression. But coming to a conservative family, Vietnamese family, especially understanding that and kind of representing that for the younger generation dealing with the older generation, are we going to see kind of like a conflict between the older generation, the Texas generation, and your young California selves?
I definitely think so. I think growing up for, our older cousins, being Asian was something you shouldn't have been, you are afraid to be proud of. People would make fun of the lunches you bring to school, the things you like, but now like things that are just inherently Asian, like K-pop or playing video games or watching anime, for example, people love doing that now, and we're able to express ourselves, something that our cousins had to hide and pretend that they didn't enjoy, and they didn't have that, but nowadays, like watching BTS or watching Blackpink on YouTube or going to their concerts, that's like mainstream now. And I think that's so great because we're able to finally share our culture with the entire world and finally be appreciated and not have to shy away. And in addition to that, we're able to also share our story about our societal pressures, having filial piety to our parents, but also being our own person. So I think it's a good mixture of both.
And like what else we also bring to the show, I think, is that you like you were saying, that's like our parents and our family is very like conservative, and that's who they are. And I don't think that, you know, every single person is just one way or the other. You have a little bit of both. And it's nice to see that when we come here, I know like Leslie all the time is like, what are you wearing? Like they're just like, what, why are you wearing that? You know, like that's just like something that they don't see. But now that we're here, we can see that you can, you know, be individualistic, be who you are, express yourself, but you can also have, like Kim said, your family values and all these things that you care about, and you can have both. Like it's not just one or the other.
Okay. Well, the screeners, we only were sent 4 episodes, so we don't know much. What can you tease about the rest of the season for the audiences?
You can tease there's a lot of love, luxury, laughter, but I think this season you'll definitely see a lot of sides about people that you did not get to see in the first season. And that is refreshing because no character is just, you know, one dimensional. There's so many different sides and so many different things that you'll see that all of our family members have been going through, and how we deal with it as like one family unit and their own like personal struggle with it. But I think the most important thing is that our show is about our family and how much we love each other and care about each other. And no matter what, uh, each of us are there to pick up the pieces when we're like crying. Because I don't know if you see me cry yet, but you'll see all of us cry multiple times.
I think season 2 also addresses modern problems that a lot of Asian families are afraid to talk about. Of course, one being, you know, coming out.
Yeah.
Season 1 kind of touched base on, you know, divorce, because divorce is a pretty sensitive topic amongst Asian families. We're kind of breaking out of that box and bringing something a little bit more serious, and kind of it's usually hush hush that no one really talks about. So I think it'll be very interesting to hear about that.
But you can definitely tell on HBO Max, August 25th.
No, great. Thank you so much. It was so fantastic talking to you guys. I can't wait for everyone to see your perspective, because I have family in Texas, Vietnamese family in Texas, so it's actually great to see the dynamics happening here. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Fanboys, professional artists, and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me.